Welcome back to Same Bright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this beautiful slanted scalloped bustier gown you are seeing right here on the thumbnail and on the video. I'll be sharing with you some tips and tricks to creating these scallops the way you see it right here. This is what I got right here. You can see the scallops to this dress. Of course, this dress is also a canoe neckline, as you can see. And it has a slit at the back, but I decided to have an overlapped slit for it. At the upper area, you can also create scallops for it, but I decided to leave mine the way you see it right here. So if this is what you want to learn in this class, I will encourage you to stay till the end of this tutorial to learn the tips and tricks to creating this beautiful gown. So let's dive into this tutorial right away. I used only 4 yards of Ankara fabric and 1 yard of crepe fabric for the combination. Next, you are going to place your paper on fold. Because of those scallops, you are going to create the scallop first before we start the drafting. I'll create a border line of 1 inch. Place your tape on the border line. Measure your chest line. Mine is 9 inches. Bust point, under bust, waistline. You are going to take your hip line, that is shoulder to hip, and the knee line is 41. I counted 4 inches upwards to get my knee line. I'll mark the lines and rule my lines across. This is me ruling the vertical lines as shown. This is the shoulder line, chest line, bust point, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waist, shoulder to hip, and shoulder to knee line. Next, you are going to mark your shoulder divide by 2. Mark it on the chest line. Neck width is 3 inches. Come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant. Connect a straight line for your sleeve area. Get the midpoint. Go in by 3/4 of an inch. Connect your armhole as shown. On the chest line, you mark 1/4 of your bust line. 1/4 of my bust line. So whatever your bust circumference is, divide it by 4 and connect your armhole as shown. On the waistline, you are going to mark 1/4 of your waist divide by 4 and connect. On the hip line, you are going to mark your hip circumference divide by 4 and connect as well. Then on the knee line, take away 2 inches from your hip divide by 4, mark it on the knee line and on the full length line. Connect your lines accordingly. Neck depth is 3.5 inches for the front and neck width is 5.5 inches. This is a canoe neckline. I'll just freehand the canoe neckline because the curve ruler will not give me exactly what I want. Next, you are going to open up this paper right now, so we'll be able to draft exactly what we'll have on the right side, on the left side too. This is the center front. I'm going to extend all the lines and repeat what I did on the other side this way too. This scallop design is going to start from the midpoint of the armhole and it's going to run all the way to the waistline as shown. But on the bust point, you are going to mark your bust span divide by 2. Whatever your nipple to nipple divide by 2 is, add 2.5 more inches to it on the side. Then you mark exactly what you have on total on the chest line. Now I'm going to connect it this way from that midpoint all the way to the bust point. You can see what I did right there. Now on the under bust area, you come out by 3 inches. And on the waistline, you are going to come up by 2.5 inches. We are going to connect that 2.5 inches to the 3 inches and blend it all the way to the line we have already. On the waistline, you are going to come up by 1.5 inches. Then we will finish up the line as shown. Now on the waistline again, you are going to come down by 4.5 inches. Then connect it with a straight line all the way to the hip line as shown. after which we'll begin to connect or create the scallop. So you take the measurement of what you have on that line. I have 24 inches and I need 8 scallops. So 24 divided by 8 gave me 3 inches spacing. I'll go ahead and mark 3 inches as my spacing as shown. I'll mark it all the way down. Next, you are going to divide the 3 inches into half piece again, which will give you 1.5 inches. So just divide the 3 inches into 2 equal parts, that is half, as you can see me do. So the spacing now is 1.5 inches. So I'm going to start from the first line to mark straight lines. So these straight lines for now does not have any measurement. So I'm just trying to define the part at which the scallop is going to lay. Next, I'll begin to label the scallop lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you need 7 scallops, 6 scallops, just divide your line with the number of scallops. So for the first scallop, I'm going to come down by 1.5 inches. The second one, you come down by 1.5. In fact, all of them, you will come down by 1.5. Next, on the line, you mark 1 inch outward, 1 inch on the left and 1 inch on the right. Then we are going to connect a V this way. Then you come to the second scallop, come out by 1 inch, 1 inch, connect another V this way. That is what I'll keep doing for the 3, 4, 5 till I get to the 8 scallops. Now for the upper scallops, I'm trying to see if I can get a beautiful curve with my pattern ruler. But unfortunately I did not get. So you come up by 1 inch upwards and use your hand and create your scallops. I will go over to the down part. Please, the down part is not going to be a sharp V. You need to blend it up the way you see me blend it right now. So, but because the line at the end is 1.5, so I connected the scallop to that line as shown. So you mark 1 inch, 1 inch outwards. This is what I will keep doing until I get to the end of it. Then you go up by 1 inch to connect the upper scallop area. So I also try to see if I can use my pattern ruler, so it's going to be easier for us. So I use the inner curve and I got something very closer. But the point is that you need to watch what you are working on and then use your free hand to shaping it the way you actually wanted. So I'll go ahead to create the rest of the scallops right now. I have gradually come to the end of the scallops, so I'll just go ahead and connect this to the line. So the last scallops, you connect them directly to the sides as shown, just like we did in the other one. Then you go ahead and blend the scallops. If you notice at the upper area there were 3 scallops, but I'm going to make only 1 scallop. So from the center front, I came out by 3.5 inches, which is my bust span divided by 2. Then I'm going to mark 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches on both sides, just like I did on the down scallop. Then I created a straight line at the midpoint, then mark 1.5 inches upwards. So I just go ahead and create another scallop on the upper area. So this scallop is just 1, but you can go ahead and create 3 more scallops as shown in the original. Just trying to blend up this scallop so it looks nice and not too pointy. So I kept blending these points, okay? Just blend it to look very beautiful. Next, we are going to place our brown pattern paper to trace this out. Make sure you secure with your pins as shown. After which, I started to trace out the line. So if you look very well, you are going to see the lines I created. So I kept tracing it out the way I'm seeing it right here. I'm going to take all the shape I created. I have gradually come to the end of tracing it. As you can see me, I'm just tracing exactly what I have. After tracing it out, I went ahead to cut out this pattern this way. So I'm going to cut all the upper area, leaving the scallop area. This is me cutting by the sides right now. So I am not going to cut the scallops. This is actually a mistake because I want to show you the easiest way to sew this scallop. So what I did was I just stopped here and decided to cut out the pepper this way. When I'm about to sew the scallops, you are going to see the tips and tricks while I left this particular piece this way. So just go ahead and cut the sides, that's all. So we'll set this piece aside, then we'll begin to work on the bustier. Right now, I'm going to place the pepper on fold again. We are going to cut out the other part at the center front. After cutting it out, we are going to use the right side to draft the bustier. To draft the bustier, on the bust point area, I'm going to mark my nipple to nipple divide by 2. I'll also mark it on the waistline. My dart intake is 0.75 on both sides, making it 1.5 inches. So I'm going to create my dart to the bust point as shown. Then my bust dart is 2 inches. I divided it by 2 just to connect the bust dart. For the princess dart, come down by 3 inches on the armhole. You are going to connect it as shown. Then you are going to replace the 1.5 inches dart on the side all the way to the chest line. So that means I'm going to extend my bust dart again, okay, to touch this new line. Next, we are going to contour the under bust. You place your tape at the center front, mark your under bust divide by 4, whatever you have left. I usually put 1/4 inch in front and 1.25 inches on the side. After which you are going to connect your bustier this way. Then connect a straight line to touch the dart on the waistline. I want to add 1 inch dart for my princess dart. So from that armhole line, I'll come down by 1 inch and connect. So the extension will be 1 inch to accommodate that curvy part. Of course, you know how to go about a princess dart line. Now we are done with the bustier. This is the center front area. We are going to cut. I'll just take my time to cut on the waistline. So what I'm doing right here is to separate the upper part from the lower piece, because we are actually going to sew them separately and then join them together to create a gown. Now I'll just go into the dart this way. So you can use any bustier method, drafting method that you are familiar with. You must not go with what I'm doing right here. Okay, but this actually gives me a very perfect fit. So I'm cutting out through the princess dart area into the under bust area. The front piece is ready right now. Open up my bust dart and I'm going to close it as shown. The front piece is very much ready right now. We are going to move over to the down part. So for the down part, I just cut out the shape like this. Here is the center front area. We are going to draft the back piece separately. So I'm going to place my tape at the shoulder line, mark the chest line, then count 2 inches because of the bust dart for the waistline. Next, we are going to rule the lines across. On the shoulder line, you are going to mark shoulder divide by 2, mark it on the chest line. You mark 3 inches, come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant, create a straight line. Get the midpoint for the armhole for the back, come in by 0.5, then connect a straight line. On the chest line, we are going to also mark our bust divide by 4. Then you connect your armhole completely. I'm going to mark my waist divide by 4 on the waistline. Then we are going to close up the sides as shown. Then get the midpoint of your waist for the darts. Whatever you have there, you mark it on the chest area to connect a straight line. My dart intake is just half an inch for the back. I will replace it on the side too. Then I came down by 1 inch on the chest line to create my dart. Next, we are going to connect a princess dart for the back piece. So I'll just go to the anywhere on that line. It can be above the midline. I'm contouring my zipper line by 1 inch as shown, and I connected it to the tip of the shoulder this way to avoid zipper bulge. I'll replace my 1 inch contour line. I'll also replace on the chest line as shown. Next, we are going to complete the sides right now. For the neck line, or for the princess dart, I came down by 1 inch just to accommodate the princess line. Of course, you know how to go about that. So the depth is 2 inches for the neck depth for the back, and 5.5 inches for the neck width. Remember, we are creating a canoe neckline for this dress. So make sure you blend it up very, very well. It's time to cut out right now, and this is me cutting it out. I'll take my time to cut all the lines for you to see right here. This is the back piece I'm cutting. I'll go into the princess dart for the back. I'll cut through the dart, waist dart, take it to the shoulder area, to the neckline this way. Then we are going to cut out the contour line as shown. So as it stands right now, the back piece is very much ready. I am going to label it B1, B2, and this is the zip line. Next, we are going to cut the lining for the down part right now. So I want to finish the cutting of the down part before we move over to the sewing of the upper area. I place my lining on fold so as to accommodate that pepper we drafted. I'll secure it with my pin and add my seam allowances. I'm going to place my tape on the waistline, which is 18 inches, and I will mark the full length. The full length I'm using here is 60 inches. Including the hemming allowance. Next, I'll come over to the sides to add 2 inches, which is the seam allowance. After marking the 2 inches, I also marked on the hemline and connected a straight line. This is just the seam allowance added to the lining on the down part. So I'll just proceed to cut. After cutting the sides, I added half an inch on the waistline. Right now, I'm going to open up my fabric and I'm going to place the lining right on top of the fabric to cut. So I'm cutting exactly the same length. This is me cutting out exactly what I have on the lining on the Ankara fabric. So this is the front piece. I'm going to cut out the back piece right now. So I'm going to place my fabric on fold again and use the front piece to cut the back piece. After placing the back piece on fold, I'm going to mark 2 inches at the center back. That will serve as the point of my zipper line. Then I'm going to place this center front area on that line, which is the center back line. Next, I will start to highlight all the lines. I'm going to highlight the waistline across because we are going to contour them, the hip line, the knee line. So make sure you highlight all of them this way. On the waistline, we are going to come in by 1 inch, which is the back contour line. Then you go ahead and place your pattern ruler to the hip line. We are not taking anything out of the hip line. You connect it to the waistline as shown. Then on the knee line, we are also going to come in by 1 inch like this. And we are going to reshape that part. You can see how I placed my ruler. Then the line on the knee line, 1 inch, will run all the way to the hemline as shown. So you are going to mark 1 inch this way and rule a straight line downwards. So remember the seam allowance is 2 inches. So we'll begin to mark 2 inches from that new line. You will mark it to connect to get to the waistline. So as you are marking, you are connecting that line. So this is the back contour line. On the down part, we are creating right here. So I'm going to position my ruler exactly the way I positioned them, just to add the 2 inches zip allowance until I get to the waistline as shown. So here I'm connecting it, but we are going to replace all those contour lines. On the waistline right now, we'll just go ahead and replace on the waistline that 1 inch. Before replacing the contour line on the side, I want to highlight the shape of this skirt, so we'll know where to replace exactly. So after highlighting the shape of the skirt, so I'm going to add a 1 inch on the waistline, which is the replacement. And on the hip line, we did not replace anything, but on the knee line, I replaced 1 inch. On the hem line, you also replace the 1 inch. Then you draw a straight line all the way down. I'm reconnecting the sides of this, as you can see. Of course, you know how to go about your skirt piece anyway. So we'll go ahead to cut now. This is me cutting out on the lines I marked. I'm going to cut it all the way down. At this point, I needed an overlap, and the overlap is going to be 3 inches below the line. In fact, it's just on the knee line exactly. Okay, so but I will advise you make your overlap above your knee line, so you'll be able to work very well. Here you can see the overlap, so I'm now cutting through the chalk line as shown. After cutting, the back piece is ready. We'll now use it to cut out the lining. Don't forget to create the necessary notches as you see me do right here. I am going to set the front and the back skirt piece aside. Then we'll go over to work on the upper area. This is what I got for the back now. This is my pattern pieces for the front. We'll go ahead to cut them on fabric. I've cut them on fabric. I added 1/2 inch seam allowance, 2 inches for the side seam allowance, 1/2 inch for the joining allowance, and 2 inches for the zipper allowance. Next, we are going to create a notch at the under bust area because I want to create the bust padding. For my bust padding, I usually like to use my pattern to create it. So this is the bust point. I came up by the difference between my under bust and bust point, which is 3.5 inches. So I just use it to create my padding. I've gone ahead to cut out this on the under bust area. This is how I usually create my own padding. This is me cutting out the wadding. I place the center front on fold and I'm going to cut. After cutting out your wadding, please make a mark on the upper area and the bust point area. Next, you will go ahead to place your wadding. The sticky part, you place it right on top of the fabric. Secure with your pin at the front area. We'll go over to the ironing table. You use your hair. After using my hairstay on it, I went ahead to sew the bustier. The bustier is very much ready right now, and the lining is ready as well. You can go ahead and cut out any excesses on the armhole because of the princess dart. Go ahead and set these pieces aside, then we'll move over to the back piece. For the back piece, I'm going to join the pieces, the princess darts together. After joining, it's time to stitch the necklines. I'll go ahead and stitch at 1/2 inch. After stitching, go ahead and make your notches as shown. Then flip all your seams to the lining and top stitch. This is what I got after I'm done sewing the neckline for the back. I will move over to the front neckline. I'm going to place it right side to right side and stitch. After stitching, I'm going to place notches as shown. Then flip all my seams to the part of the lining and top stitch. Necklines are very much ready, so we are going to sew the shoulder seam line. So I'll flip the lining this way and use it and stitch at half and this is what I got after I'm done joining the necklines. Next, I'm going to pick up the skirt piece, the front skirt piece for the fabric only. I'm going to join the fabric only. Here I have joined the fabric alone and we are going to place the scallops. So we are going to cut out these scallops now on fabric. This is how you are going to place your fabric. This is 1 yard. I'm going to fold it on the 60 inches length as shown. Next, we are going to pin the scallop on the fabric this way. You can see I'm pinning even at the scallop. I pin all the scallops one after the other because we are going to stitch on top of the pepper. Next, we are going to add 3 inches. It's better you have excess than you have shortage. I added 3 inches. So if I have an excess, I'll cut it out. So you are going to connect the 3 inches to the scallop line this way. On the armhole area, just add 1 inch as shown. Then you add 3 inches the way you see me do right here on this side. I'm going to take it all the way to the scallop point downwards. Finally, go ahead and connect it to the scallop as shown. So next, I'm going to pin on all those lines I marked right now. This is me pinning on the other side as well. Next, I will take it this way to the machine right now to stitch. So I'm going to stitch right on that line with my pins and I will stitch into the scallop lines as shown. After pinning, I'm going to cut out right now. So I stitched exactly on the pepper on the scallop lines. So you just go ahead and add your seam allowances. I added 1/2 inch this way. I'm going to add it all the way into the scallops. As you can see me cutting through, I'll keep going this way, that way, until I cut out the scallops completely. For the sides, this is how I'm going to cut on the sides. I added 1/2 inch. Remember, I stitched on the chalk line, so make sure you add your 1/2 inch. Don't cut on the chalk line or else you cut out your thread. For this upper part, I stitched exactly on the pepper. So I'm adding 1/2 inch as you can see and I'm cutting out as shown. Next, I'm going to take off the pepper as you can see right here. Please don't forget to create notches. Make notches so you'll be able to turn those scallops or even cut it a little bit smaller. This is to enable you turn it very well. We are going to leave the armhole area unstitched. Please don't stitch the armhole area, okay? The armhole area, that is where we are going to turn this to the right side. So here I have hasted the front and the back piece just to make it a little bit firmer. So we'll just go ahead and make notches on this side. Just make notches very well. Then from that armhole side we left open, that is where I'm going to turn this to the right side. The turning might not really be that easy, so I use my screwdriver to bring all the scallops out. This is what it looks like after I'm done bringing it out. I'm going to use my steam iron to iron it out. Voila! You can see what we have. It looks so beautiful and cute. So we are going to place it right now on the dress. So because we cut out the scallops without the darts, you can have a little alteration, but that is not too much. Remember, we cut the scallop before we added our bust dart and all that. So what you are going to do is to ensure you lay it on the waistline and on the hip line. Secure with your pins. If you have excesses, you cut it out. This is me trying to pin it very well. So at this point, you are going to lay it the way we drafted it. Make sure it's a little bit slanted and you spread your fabric very well so you have a perfect result. So I'll just keep placing it, aligning it on the waistline the way we drafted and secure with our pin. After pinning, go ahead and turn it to the wrong side. You can see those excesses I told you about. We'll just cut it out. This is me cutting out the excesses out, as you can see right here. Next, I will go ahead to stitch the lining. I will stitch the lining to the upper area this way. After stitching the lining, don't forget to reduce the down part of your lining by 1.5 inches because we are going to turn the lining with the skirt piece. After cutting it out, we are going to lay the lining right side to right side to the dress. And you are going to start all the way from the hemline. Stitch close the hemline. After stitching the hemline this way, then go over to the armhole. Please don't forget to start from the armhole to stitch down. Remember, we reduced the lining by 1.5 inches. So this is how it's going to look like. Next, you go ahead at the armhole area, which is open, and turn the whole dress to the front. Give it a good press. This is what it looks like at the front after I'm done ironing it. So we'll go over to the back right now to add the back piece. After stitching the back piece together, this is what I got. Next, I'm going to reduce my lining for the back with 1.5 inch. After reducing the lining, we are going to also lay it right side to right side of the main fabric, just like we did for the front. And I'm going to stitch close the down piece. After stitching the down piece, I went ahead to stitch all the sides. So I cut off the excess I have on the overlap because you have an excess, and make a diagonal notch to it to ease that overlap. I'm going to turn this from the armhole like we have been doing right now. So I will give it a good press and sew the other side as well. Right here, the front and the back piece is very much ready. So I'm going to lay it right side to right side and shaping the side. Here you can see I've opened up the sides and I gave it a good press. Next, I'm going to put the center back piece together. I'm going to stitch my zipper line and then I'm going to close up the overlap. After doing all of that, it's time to sew the zipper, and this is my overlap. The dress is very much ready right now. We are going to sew the sleeve. So the sleeve is a basic sleeve. I've already cut out the length of my sleeve, including the lining piece. So I'll just go ahead and cut out 1 inch out of my lining piece as shown. Next, we are going to mark the run size. The lining is shorter right now. You place them right side to right side and stitch it. After stitching, this is what I got. You are going to lay it right side to right side and shaping your sleeve. This is what I got for the sleeve right now. I'm going to turn it this way so we'll have the lining on the inside. The sleeves are very much ready to be sewn on the armhole. I'll just go ahead and open my zipper right now. Insert the sleeve right side to right side. I'll go ahead and stitch with 1/2 inch. This is how we'll come to the end of this tutorial. Bye for now.